I went to read the message. They're like, oh my God, Beta, I love your stuff. I never thought you'd ever commission me. Also, yeah, how big do you want it? And that was the one time I have experienced severe social whiplash in the form of a message. I know for some time I've talked about the wildest, craziest, weird fan encounters I've had in the past. But this time I want to switch things up. I want to talk about the positive, very good, very wholesome fan experiences that I've had. There's some really crazy ones. Some good crazy and some really weird crazy. I want to talk about some of the wholesome and interesting fan encounters that I've had. The first story goes all the way back to BLFC 2019, biggest little furry convention 2019. One of my first few furry conventions that I had been to. This is when I had met an acquaintance of mine, who I guess maybe was an acquaintance at the time, more of like just who was a fan of my content, known as Nox, a burgundy red husky with white fur as well. He's such a sweetheart. He was a fan. He watched my content for a while. I believe he was a patron as well, but this is my first time meeting him. And when I did, he said hi to me. I gave him a big hug and he's like, hey Beta, I have a gift basket for you. I'm like, you have a gift basket for me? What did I do that's so special? But thank you. And he hands me this little like bag. It was like an orange drawstring bag of stuff. And he's like, I got some special stuff for you. I know you're going to love it. I know you're going to enjoy it at this con as well. You're wonderful. And he went on his way to do whatever else. So I go back to my room to check out what's in it. And me and my roommates at the con, we were checking it out. One thing that was in the bag was just like a little orange fleece blanket. So cozy. Was perfect because the room was really cold at the con. We like to keep it cold because, you know, fursuiters and all that. I got a nice orange fleece blanket. I still have it and I still use it. I love it so much. The second thing he gave me was a cute little husky plushie. It had a little bandana on it that just said Beta on it. It was very, very cute. And the third thing in that little gift basket was a bottle of Grey Goose. A bottle of vodka. So, like, I was a bit confused about the message, but it was also kind of funny. Like, oh, this endearing thing. Oh, blanket. Oh, plushie. Oh, Grey Goose. He gave me two things that were very, you know, useful that I ended up using throughout the con and I still use to this day. You know, the blanket's very warm. I think I actually use it in my car for like a car blanket. And the plushie, I still have it. I think it's in my plushie net up there. And then a bottle of Grey Goose. I mean, that didn't even last it the day I got the bag. Like, that just didn't even last to the evening. Let's be real. So again, big shout out to Nox for that wonderful first impression. and also that neat little gift basket. I loved it. Next story is relevant to this art piece that I received at Fernal Equinox 2019. So I guess it's before BLFC, but it just kind of reminded me. Some furries do this, and I also don't blame furries for doing this, but it always, like, confuses me. Where, like, this exact thing happened, where I went to the dealer's den at FE. I was walking around. One of the artists at their booth, you know, stopped me, like, hey, you're Beta, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm Beta, and then I showed him my badge. I'm like, hi, nice to meet you. And they're like, hi, I made this for you. Here you go. Have a good one. And then he just like completely went back to whatever they were doing. And they handed me this, like this art piece. I'm like, oh my God, thank you. And then I guess I was supposed to like keep moving on, but I'm like stunned at this amazing artwork. So that's the sort of story behind this art piece and where it came from. I actually laminated it. This didn't come laminated. They just did this apparently at the con because they heard I was there and they handed it to me. That was some context behind this like little art piece, but I also went back to thank them later. But just in the moment, it was so weird because I've had that happen a lot where it's not even just like this art piece, but plenty of other times before where some furries have gone up to me and been like, hey Beta, I love your stuff. I made this for you. Hope you enjoy it. Bye. And then they go on to doing whatever. And then they give me like a masterpiece where I just haven't even processed the interaction. And I want to like thank them endlessly, but they're like gone by the time I look back up. It's so crazy to me. And it's been a thing that happens. I don't know why. I'm so flabbergasted. Like, I just want to thank them. And I'm just like, wait, where'd you go? Oh, here we go. The Starbucks story. That's fun. So one day when I was just in my local Starbucks drive-thru, one of the guys at the cash register through the window just went, oh my God, you're Beta. Oh my God, I love your videos. I was not expecting you here. That threw me for the loop because I think that was the first time I had ever interacted with a fan or someone that watched my content or enjoyed what I did outside of a furry convention. It kind of just became a trend for every day after then because I was on a weird thing of like going to Starbucks in the morning, then working on schoolwork or whatever I needed to do for videos, and then repeating the process every day. So pretty much every day for like a month or so, I ended up seeing this guy who recognized me and what I did and was a fan at like the checkout window when I was at that Starbucks, and he recognized my voice at the window, and he would just be like, welcome to Starbucks, how can I help you? I'm like, yeah, I'm just gonna get my usual if that's all right. And he's like, all right, grande nitro cold brew with sweet cream, you got that, Beta. Anything else? I'm like, no, that'll be it. And then I just go up to the window. It got to the point where I just became kind of like a regular that he knew, and it was just kind of like small talk of like, hey, how you doing? Oh, you know, how's this? Obviously I didn't like mention anything furry to him because I know he was at work, and that would kind of in some sense out him as a furry to his coworkers. I didn't do any of that. I was just like, oh yeah, I know him because I make online content or whatever. Didn't disclose what I did. I also had a somewhat similar encounter, believe it or not, at a PetSmart. But I went to PetSmart because I needed a brush for my fursuit. So I was in that aisle looking for a nice brush, a sizable one, to brush my suit. And one of the workers came up to me and was like, can I help you find anything? I probably shouldn't have been as forward as I was, but I was semi like joking, but not. I gave it sort of like a lighthearted tone of like, I was like, oh no, I'm just looking for a brush for my fursuit, that's all. And they're like, ah, you're joking, right? And then they go like, wait, are you Beta? And it's just like, I meant to joke there. I didn't mean that. Is that a furry struggle tweet moment? I feel like it's a furry struggle tweet moment. They were very helpful, though. They helped me find the brush that I was looking for. And they're like, yeah, no, I know exactly what kind of brush. You're not the first furry there. I'm like, wait, what? I'm not the first. Okay. Didn't ask any more questions. They handed me the brush, and then I went to check out and left immediately. I don't know who they were, but thank you for helping me. I was not in the right area for the brush that I was looking for. I have one last story, though, about an interesting fan encounter. I wouldn't say that this is wholesome. I'd say that it's interesting and it's funny. So, I can't remember when this was, but I remember I was perusing through Fur Affinity, and I found a your character here. Because I do that a lot. I just look for YCHs that I want to like commission, or I want my character there, and I hit them up and I commission them. It's really easy for me to like figure out the pose without having to figure it out because it's already there. And I saw your character here for a saucy art piece that I was like, you know what? I kind of want to see Levi like that. So I hit up the artist. I just messaged them on Fur Affinity. And this is on my main account. I don't have another account. I just have one Fur Affinity. And so I just messaged them. I just hit them up. I'm like, hey, I saw that you had this your character here, and I linked it below. Any chance it might be open? I'd love to like commission you for this. Let me know. Okay, thanks. And then they replied within 5 minutes. I went to read the message. They're like, oh my god, Beta, I love your stuff. I never thought you'd ever commission me. Also, yeah, how big do you want it? And that was the one time I have experienced severe social whiplash in the form of a message. Like, it was just the duality in those two statements there gave me severe social whiplash. I didn't even know, like, I recoiled reading it of like, how do I reply to this? It was literally like, oh my god, Beta, I love your stuff. Also, yeah, how big do you want it? And I just like, I sat there looking at that message, figuring out, what do I reply to? How do I like reply like verbatim as verbally of a roller coaster as that is? I finally worked up the courage to reply. I'm like, oh, hey, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate the kind words. Here's the ref of my character. I'd like it in this size. Can I get, you know, your payment platform to be able to pay you? And they're like, yeah, sure. And then they linked it, and then I got the commission, and that was that. It was just a funny little experience. I wouldn't say it was wholesome. I think that pretty much goes for most of like the very intensely wholesome, or I guess very unique fan encounters that I've had so far. I know there's plenty more here that I probably just don't remember, so I might do a part 2 to this eventually, but this is just kind of what goes for now. Wholesome fan encounters that are very interesting and unique. Some of them wholesome, some of them not so wholesome, some of them weird, but all of them were very unique and memorable, so I appreciate them.